So, the next part of income tax, section 7, income deemed to be received. Income deemed to be received. Going to see. The following income shall be deemed to be received in the previous year. The annual accretion in the previous year to the balance sheet at the credit of an employee participate in recognized provident fund to the extent provided in the rule 6 of part A of the 4th schedule. A transferred balance in recognized provident fund to extend provision of sub rule 4 and rule 11 of part A of schedule. A contribution made by the central government or any other employer in the previous year accounting to employee in the pension scheme referred to 80 CCD. So, deemed income received, 3 income, what they saying? A recognized provident fund and pension fund, PF. They are speaking about the PF contribution. What the contribution being made by the employer to employee. There are how many types of contributions are there? Actually, there are recognized provident fund contribution. Second thing is central government made to the employee pension scheme. So 80 CCD2. If these two contribution made by the employer to employee, such contribution made by the employer to employee won't be considered in the income, because when they provide the pay sheet form 16, such income what they receive will be only the employer contribution won't be there, only the employee contribution will be clearly mentioned, and such employee contribution will be considered as a deduction in this case. If it in the other cases, I clearly means what is the cases is employee has came into the organization, such employee is there in the organization. Okay, so as an employer has a responsibility regarding gratuity. What he will do? He will make some contribution to the employees on behalf of the employee. When he going to come out of organization in 5 years, he will make a contingency contribution. That is one part. Second part, what he will do? Every month he will pay 12.5% or 12% to 10% own contribution from employer account to employee. Such employer contribution will not be shown in employee account, won't be shown in the employer account, because he will book as expenses, but employee won't show. That won't be their clause, but it is also deemed income. Even though it is an exemplary income when they received in the closure of their employment contract, and the day of the receipt will be considered as it will be considered as what income? Exempted income. The interest which is received from the PF contribution, that is exempt on the day, but it is also, they say it's a deemed received, income is deemed received. It's that pertain to that financial year. This is what's been said. Second, dividend income. Clearly, dividend, who will be declaring dividend? Companies will be declaring dividend. So, previously, company will be deducting dividend distribution tax, and that dividend will be credited in the whose accounts? Shareholders accounts. But now what happens? The amount which is received by the shareholders on that respective account, it is taxable. It is not in the tax of the companies. So people start investing more in the company. So to come up with a plan, so people will start investing in the companies and the market will be going up. Such on that belief, government has made this scheme. So dividend is taxable in the hands of the shareholder. Were there any exemption? We will see. Any dividend declared by a company, distributed or paid within the meaning of the clause A and B, clause C, clause D, clause E and clause 22 of section 2 shall be deemed to be income of the previous year in which so declared. So you want to see the subclause A, B, C, D, E of clause 22 of section 2. What is the clause 22 of section 2? You will go to section 2. Section 2 going 20 23 plus 22 is there. The dividend includes any distribution of company of accumulated profit, whether capitalized or not, if such distributed entitled to receipt by the company to its shareholders for all the parts and parts of the assets of the company. So clearly say. So from the accumulated profits they are giving such income, that will be considered as dividend. Any distribution to its shareholder by the company of debentures, debenture stocks or debenture certificate in any form, whether with or without interest, any distribution to its preferential shareholders by way of bonus to extend the company possesses accumulated profit, whether capitalized or not. So distributed to the shareholders. Which shareholder? Preferential shareholder. What are they distribute by way of bonus? So by way of bonus, even the bonus is be distributed to the preferential shareholder, it will be considered as dividend. See, dividend. Any distribution made to the shareholder of the company on its liquidation. So the company is going on liquidation. To the extent of the distribution is attributable to accumulated profit of the company immediately before liquidation, whether capitalized or not. So distribution is made by the shareholder of the company on its liquidation. The company is going on the liquidation. Before its liquidation process taken place, some amount is given to the shareholder of the company. That will be considered as dividend. Any distribution to its shareholder by the company on its reduction of capital to the extent which company possesses accumulated profit which arose from the end of the previous year extent on or extent before 1st April 1993, which is accumulated profit is capitalized on. So before 1993 there was a process of reduction in capital. So reduction in capital, the amount which is paid to its shareholder by the company from its possessed accumulated profit, such will be considered as dividend. Any payment by the company, non being a company which publicly substantial interest or sum were representing parts of the assets of the companies otherwise, made after 31st May 1987 by way of advance loan to a shareholder being a person beneficial owner of the share, not being a shares entitled to fixed rate of dividend whether or without the rate of particular profit, holding not less than 10% of the voting power, or to the concern which such shareholders are members or partner in which substantial interest, or any payment of the company on behalf of the individual benefit of the shareholders to the extent of the company either its possesses accumulated profits. So clearly says this section clearly says what is it saying. So payment by the company, okay, not being a company to its public or substantially interest by way of sum. So some kind of publicly substantial interest or sum has been there in the company. So he is a person who is a beneficial owner of the company, okay, and what is saying, it's not entitled to fixed rate of dividend. So in that there is no fixed rate of dividend is given to that shareholder with or without the right of participating in profit. So participating profit or not being entitled to this, call the concern we take upside, and holding of him is less than 10%. Indirectly what is saying, these conditions has been given and he is receiving something out of it, and such amount which received by some person, and he is not a substantial interest of that company, okay, he is not a substantial interest, he is not holding less than 10% stake, holding not less than 10% of the stakes, and here there is no fixed rate of dividend or concern, and there is no writer without participating in profit, such kind of thing, beneficial owner points not came over, and if some amount is received, that will also be considered as dividend. And second thing, but dividend does not include, what will not be considered as dividend? A distribution made in the accordance with subclause C and subclause D. What is subclause C and subclause D? Liquidation process, reduction in capital, In such cases, share issue of full cash consideration, whether the holder of the share is not entitled to the event of liquidation to participate in surplus. So share issue is happening and the full cash consideration done. In such case, it will not be considered as a dividend distribution. Second point, distribution made in accordance with class D, subclass D and subclass D, liquidation or reduction in capital. In so far as concerned, distribution in attribute to the capital profit of the company representing bonus shares allotted to equity shareholders after 31st March. So, a company is allotting bonus share. A value of a company share is given as bonus. Such bonus will be considered as a part of dividend. No, it will not be considered as dividend. Any advance or loan made to the shareholder by the company in its ordinary course of business. So, in the ordinary course of business, there is a lending of money to a substantial part of the business of the company. So, the shareholder who has a dealing and he has been lending some money, company is lending some money to the shareholder, it will not be considered as dividend. Any dividend paid by a company which is offset by the company against a whole or part of some previously paid by it are treated as dividend within the meaning of clause E. So, some payment is made by the company, so offsetting something, a dividend is paid, such thing will not be considered as a dividend. Okay. Any payment made by the company on purchase of its own share from its shareholders in accordance with the provision of Section 77A of Companies Act 1956. So, the company may go through buyback of shares. On that buyback of shares, the company may provide a fair value or market value or a given premium on a buyback has been done. Then such buyback has been done. In that case, the money which is being provided by the company to its shareholder will not be considered as what? Dividend. Okay, it's not being considered as dividend. Any distribution of share pursuant to the demerger by a resulting company to shareholder of its demerger company. So that's two things, merger and demerger. The company is demerger is they are separating. In the pursuit of the demerger resulting any money is being given, that will not be considered as dividend. So these are the clause which is being said in regarding to the dividend. So dividend income, this clause will be there. So next part we will see section income deemed to be accrued and arise in India, next part. Bye.